The good thing is the governor said that they are on top of the situation. Hopefully, no more lives will be lost. Well, let's still stay in the northern region and tell you that the Northern Ethnic Nationality Forum, representing leaders across 19 states, is actually demanding the immediate sack of all service chiefs and a complete cabinet overhaul. Now, they've described the situation in the north as a full-blown catastrophe with banditry, terrorism and kidnapping, crippling farming, commerce and transport, just like you saw in the video we just played recently from Borno State, and they're not mincing words.
In a strongly worded statement issued Sunday in Abuja and signed by its convener, the forum said that it had deeply examined the painful conditions of the people of northern Nigeria and the nation at large, and after wide consultations, resolved to demand urgent and transformative action.
This comes in after media reports reveal 102 people were killed in a bloody weekend in Nigeria. A series of violent incidents reported in Borno, Sokoto, Edo and Katsina states. Now, joining us to react to this development is the convener of the Northern Ethnic Nationality Forum, NENF, Mr. Dominic Alancha. A warm welcome to you and thanks for joining us at Breakfast Central this morning.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Now let's get straight to it. You've called for the immediate dismissal of the service chiefs who have been in office for less than 2 years. What specific failures are you pointing to, and how do you measure their performance?
Well, thank you very much. You will agree with me that the situation in the north, like we rightly said in our press release, that is a full-blown, catastrophe, where our livelihood, is being snatched away, taken away from us. And it seems there is no solution to it. In fact, some few weeks back, was trending, allegedly that the chief of defense staff was calling on Nigerians, to defend themselves. For us, this is unacceptable, because how can we defend ourselves when we don't have the necessary weapon, when it is illegal in a country to possess a weapon to defend yourself? And you see, at the inception of this administration, they started well on a footnote. In terms of security, we saw a lot of, efforts, initiative, mitigate, the security crisis. But all of a sudden, it's, resurface, and Nigerians are crying. We are crying, especially in the north. And if you look at it, the budgets, the necessary resources for them to operate conveniently and meet this situation on board has been made available. Security for defense alone was about 3.25 trillion naira, accounting for about 12%, or 12.5% of the total budget. In 2024, it was 4.91, almost 5 trillion. Out of these resources, we don't see the military, acquiring, technological, weapons that will help them in fighting, the insecurity we face in this nation, especially in the north. So we are very, very concerned about this situation. The situation is putting it and is making it look as if the service chiefs do not really know what to nip this on board. That is why we are calling on Mr. President, in the interest of the nation, to sack them and then declare a state of emergency in the north, where there will be a concerted effort to arrest the situation, where there will be coordinated mobilization of resources to deploy into fight banditry, terrorism, kidnapping, henchman activity in the north. So we are calling for their removal, not on a selfish reason, but for the sake of national security. In other climes, there cannot be a clan where over 200 persons were massacred in Benue and the service chiefs still retained their office. In Katsina just recently, worshippers were worshiping their God in the mosque. They went and opened fire on them and killed them. The complaint cut across. You could see what the Zamfara state governor was lamenting on television the other day, how he is helpless. Governors are portraying themselves as helpless people. If the governors can say they are helpless, how about an ordinary Nigerian like me and you? Who are we going to cry? The president has been elected to protect citizens, our properties, our lives. He needs to take proactive measures more in doing that. And one of the proactive measures that we have come to conclusion for the president to do is to relieve the service chief and look in, appoint people with competence, appoint people with capacity, to man the security, sector, if you so to say. There is a need for re-engineering, to the architectural structure, of the security agencies. These guys are not working. Today, if you go around Abuja and other cities, Port Harcourt, Lagos, most of these military men are the ones owning estate. Most of these military men are the ones owning, industries now. Where are they making their money from? It's as if this insecurity is paying them more than securing the country. We call on the president to do the right thing, to do the needful, and also declare a state of emergency. And by this, we are not saying that there is need for militarization of the North. This is not to say to militarize. If there can be state of emergency in Port Harcourt, I don't see in River State for, the reasons they advance as, threat to national security, because some, agree, Ijoyu, bomb, national assets. I think the life of every Nigerian is more sacrosanct. The lives of every Nigerian valued, than, just a fight. So for us, a state of emergency in the North will address the security situation. A state of emergency on security in the North will meet the security situation on board.
Are you there with us? Or it would seem that, that has frozen, unfortunately. We're looking at the state of insecurity in the North. They've asked that the service chiefs be fired and that the state of emergency be declared in northern Nigeria. They've made a comparison to what's prevalent in River State, saying that River State was not as much of a hotbed as the North is, yet a state of emergency was declared in River State. And they're wondering why all that energy is not channeled into River State. All right, our guest is back. There are those who argue that sacking the service chiefs will sort of destabilize things, as it's just all of a sudden it could destabilize operations. How do you respond to those who think that maybe they should be given a little more time to be able to carry out whatever plans they've set in motion?
Well, I think we are in the midtime of this administration, 2 years down the line. And the president appointed these people immediately. He took over, he was sworn in, as the commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, And so for them to be giving us excuses, or for people to be demanding that they should be given time, I think it is not reasonable for people to begin to do. 2 years is enough to have proven their capacity. 2 years is enough to have shown, commitment to the security of this nation. And you see, we are not only calling for only the service chiefs to be released. We are also asking Mr. President to reshuffle his cabinet. Look at the Minister of Defense, the 2 ministers of defense, that are even from the northern region. What are they doing? Their state even is in crisis, more crisis in the northern part than any part of the country. So what we are saying is reshuffle your cabinet, reject the security, the security, sack the service chiefs because they lack competence. The same competence that the service chiefs lack, the ministers that are serving you, they also lack it. And if you think you are retaining them because you want to win election, most of these ministers do not have the political clout, the political strength to deliver their unit. A lot of them contested, for example, the state minister for defense, Matewale, contested governor in his state and he failed. Some of them contested election in the past and they failed. So how can we depend on them to deliver you in 2027? Whereas there are more people with competence and capacity, with the political strength. These people do not even have thought with their base, which is their work, their unit. There is no touch in the grassroots with these people. So for us, we want to help the president. We want to see the president win.
I guess I was going to ask him if about the current chief of army staff, General Oluyede, who took over after the immediate past chief of army staff, who unfortunately lost his life, General Taoreed Lagbaja. Because it's going to be 1 year in October. If he should also be relieved of his appointment, as he's suggesting, because he says 2 years is enough, but he's only been in office for a year. Do we have our guest back online? Oh, yes. So I was going to ask you if the current Chief of Army Staff, General Oluyede, should also be relieved of his appointment, because you said they've had 2 years. If you recall, he's only been in office since October 2024, after succeeding his predecessor, General T.A. Lagbaja. He's not had 2 years.
Well, it's not about 2 years. It's about, government is a continuum. So you see, if today people are blaming APC, blaming Tinubu for some of the decisions that Muhammadu Buhari. Why? Because they see government as a continuum. It's a continuation. So for us, the service chief should be relieved because they lack the competence and the capacity. Even if, the chief of army staff was appointed just recently, we don't see him as an individual. We see his office as an institution, and he needs to take the both ends on his table as far as the military coordination is concerned, and he has not coordinated them well. So we think there is need for all the service chiefs to be relieved of their duties. We thank them for the service they have rendered to Nigeria, but their best is not good enough. They need to give way for more fresh young people, for more people with capacity to come on board and pilot the affairs of securing our borders, securing our internal our territories, so that businesses can trade. Today, as I speak with you, farmers are no longer going to their farm. I have, during this course of our consultation, that in Katsina, people are, signing pact with Andy before they could go to their farms. This is unacceptable. This is not a country that we desire for our children. This is not a country that we want to see, our children's children comes to inherit. We have the right to live this life. We have the right to livelihood as citizens. Our life, our livelihood is this snatched away from us, and government seems to be doing nothing about it. It's unacceptable.
We understand your plight, and we understand how painful it is, especially when the points you've mentioned, that if there was a state of emergency called in River State, then what's happening to the north, where we keep hearing of scores of people who have been killed either week in, week out, and yet there's no single state of emergency being called for. But we do understand, and we do hope that many who have lost their loved ones will be able to find some form of circle.